as Bourne moves slowly down the mountainside, triggering massive rock slides, which, as we said last time, thankfully don't kill anyone in the nettles because they fled this area months ago thanks to the warnings of the Skyseer Navad. What a cool dead guy.
What a legend.
As you guys break out, you get a look down the hill and you can see the Colossus stumble several times. It's almost like he's never actually walked before. Though eventually he stops at ground level between the base of Colgan Hill and Stanfield Canal, which you can see on this map where he is standing.
If you keep zooming in, he keeps getting smaller, so he's much less intimidating.
Sweet.
That's...
I love it.
There we go. It should now...
No, he's bigger again!
It should now stop doing it.
Oh no!
I think I locked him bigger this time, actually. As you guys break out of the facility, you're met by Captain Dale and a group of his men. He's one of the RHC officers. He's the one who led the Special Forces group that originally came to your aid at the Colgan Hill. He seems confused at this situation, but handles the sudden appearance of the Colossus with aplomb. And as he's helping you guys out of the facility, directing his men to check for your wounds, he points out that... Is that thing under anyone's control? Because if that's just continuing out there, it's going to devastate the city. Just merely by walking through, you realize.
It's not under our control.
It's under control. Just... Yeah. It's under control.
No, it's not.
Listen,
Out of control.
I don't need to specify whose control it's under. It's just under control, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, we don't need to... We can pass the blame another time.
So you make your way down the hill, just nonchalantly, yeah, it should be right. As you make your way down to the city, hang on, be right back. Sorry, you make your way down to the city, and Bourne basically stands there, becomes somewhat of a fixture, just towering over the city. It is apparently content for now just to look at its surroundings. You see it occasionally poke buildings like a child, curious to see how strong they are. They aren't.
Guys, we should probably do something about this.
Yes.
Any ideas?
We provoke it down the river. Surely, if we attack it, might chase us. Because it'll be angry at us, right? We may die, but yeah.
If we get close, can we try talking?
I mean, be my guest.
can we also stop for a moment and like talk about how Trabro's dead and now his spirit's inhabiting the body of like a robot or something?
Person. It's another person. Wasn't it the person that? Wait, wasn't it the robot's friend? He's the bodies he's in.
I thought Grandpa was the robot. Am I wrong here?
Grappa was the robot. He seems to be the one that made Born, but he's gone, and now, yeah, Zambria / Trabro's inside Grappa's.
Born. Who was
So-
born again?
Born's the giant.
And the soul in the giant was originally born, or now Grappa?
No, the soul. I don't think there is a soul in the giant. Technically, is there? I think it's just animated. I don't know, but
yeah,
I know.
because I thought it was born. I thought it was made by Grappa, and it has like its own kind of infantile golem brain.
It
I think
does.
that Grappa is his dad type thing.
Yep.
So I'm
And
thinking if Tribro's
Elf
in-
Lady's mum.
Yeah.
I think
So if
in the last
Tribro-
session, Dan said, that he managed to, the thing seemed to realize that his dad's soul was gone. That's why he got all fucking sad, because his mum was being dragged away and his dad is gone.
We could try and
Parade. His
mean-
dad's dead.
Like, the thing is, so we can apparently, like, Dan, didn't you say that, like, Grappa's soul, like, can be revived back into another body? It'll just take.
Yeah, absolutely. Aranis recognized it at the time and would recognize, or would know who to talk to discover the ritual to bring that spirit into a body. In much the same way that Zambro inhabited this one.
Were we able to, by any chance, able to recover Trabro's rocket belt from his?
None of
It's
Driver's
probably
equipment was recovered.
still in the body. Probably
Yeah.
still in the gold.
If you can get in there, you can
I
recover.
mean, it's a
all that
rocket
stuff.
belt, so it probably helped the explosion go slightly faster.
I was kind of hoping that I could work out. Do we have any way of like getting up close to his face?
yeah, you
He's
can
quite
climb.
monstrously high. He might notice you climbing him before you get there. Captain Dale, however, suggests perhaps dealing with a thing of this size is not something left to the five of you, and perhaps something we should regroup and discuss with the king.
Yeah, maybe that might be something we should probably do.
It is just a suggestion. He says, I am willing to follow your lead on this. And he has
Thing
about
is-
10 men at your disposal.
I mean, when did we do?
How
smart
long's it
decisions
going to
with
take to get to the king, though? Like, we don't really know how long he's going to just stay chilling out there.
Take you about an hour to get to Hotel Aurum all up.
I mean, he
That's
can't
a
do
lot.
any more damage than a fire rampaging through the industrial district.
Can't he though?
Is that a challenge?
You're pretty sure he
Not
can.
in a short amount of time.
I'm pretty sure from his size, he might be able to just kind of Godzilla throughout here. Yeah, maybe we should try and talk to him and explain to him that we can bring his dad back.
That's what I'm kind of hoping to do. I just don't know how we can get. I imagine if we shout from the ground, he's probably not really going to hear or listen to us.
Do we have a catapult?
How strong? How strong is that robot suit, Zambro? I'm wondering.
Like, in what respect? I can't
How-
punch buildings and knock them over.
I was kind of wondering about a dwarf toss, but hold on a sec. Oi! What?
Hey, listen to him. He might be trying to give us ideas.
I mean, I can probably overarm throw you there. That should be fine. I've only got one arm at the moment, but
We could do Spite's favorite thing here and split the party. Have some people here and then have some other people go to the king. Kind of try and double up our chances, because I mean, even the whole party together probably not going to do a whole lot against this thing if it decides to get all buck wild on us.
Is there any way of quickly getting a message to the king and saying, hey, shit's fucked, you might want to come to the giant fucking colossus that's about to rampage through your city?
Got a feeling you might already know that.
Without needing to roll, you would know that in a situation such as this, there would be powerful protective magics around the king to stop anything getting through to him. Messages or harmful spells. It's sort of, the equivalent of going to a bunker in America when someone bombs the US. He would be hunkered down with magic, probably provided by Harkover, the king's first guy.
Okay. So, okay. So the Obscurati, basically, where we're standing right now, is that the Obscurati wanted to have control over this to basically wreck our city, but we kind of fucked up the ritual, and now it's kind of not controlled by anyone at the moment. Is that where we're at?
We still achieved to go.
So we kind of, yeah, we're a little bit in a better position than we'd originally be. So, yeah, this thing's essentially a very, very large child. So we have to treat it like a very large child.
Okay, let's go get a giant soft toy.
So, as you guys are discussing this, Dale takes the hint that you're probably not going to head to the king just yet, and he says, perhaps if we are going to try and get it to do something, we could draw it somewhere where maybe the damage will be lessened. Perhaps if we drew it to the harbour, just northwest of here, out into the water.
Yeah. We can take the river down, destroy some bridges.
That,
that'll be fine.
isn't there like a city in the way there? Like,
yes,
wouldn't the
but
nettles?
there's also much more of a city to the east and south that if he was to wander through would be considerably more damage. A couple of blocks of industrial city, as this person who I don't know mentioned, is, well, it's already fucked up. Going more damage through Bosun Strand, it's not like there's anyone left alive to care.
Wow.
Wow.
But I can tell you this, if it starts rampaging through the North Shore or down into Central, losses will be much higher.
Yep.
Okay, would I be able to, as we're trying to guide it, would I be able to try and stealthily climb up him, like?
Depends how you guide it, how much you're distracting it, but yeah, you'd be able to try and sneak up onto him. As long as you're not using like grappling hooks, because they might hurt.
Right, I mean, honestly, I could basically just, where's...
Teleport up him?
Well, yeah, technically I probably could. Because it is an encounter, and we're not in an encounter. As long as there's shadows, I can teleport up him.
So, if it's an encounter power, it does mean you can use it limitedly until you have a short rest.
Okay.
They are still used as normal, and they recover on 5-minute rest.
Oh, I am missing an ability here. Where's my...
Wasn't me.
No, I don't think it was, buddy. It's okay.
Deleted your knock gun.
Unbelievable. No. No, my... There it is. Goes to the rooftops. That's what I was missing. Essentially, I can, how do rounds work out of if it's just an at-will power?
With a wave of a hand. What do you want to do?
I can basically use Ghost of the Rooftops to climb my speed, essentially permanently if we're out of combat without making an athletics check.
Perfect.
But I should wait until we decide what we're gonna do here. If you guys wanna, yeah, what are we gonna do?
I think, see if you can teleport up, see if we can reason with the creature. If not, try and encourage it to follow us down Bosun Strand, gently at first. and I guess if not, that doesn't work, not gently.
I just don't think like attacking it is gonna have anywhere near a positive ending for anyone.
I mean,
kind of
Tribro did
agree.
climb inside of its stomach and detonate everything, and it didn't even care.
Yeah, it just
In all likelihood, there's nothing we can do to physically harm.
so I do agree that we should guide him out though, and I think probably the harbor into the water is a good idea as far as like damage to the city goes. It's just figuring that out is another question. How to do it.
So what do you want to do?
Find the large stuffed animal.
Gonna teleport up there, Thok?
Unfortunately, Zambrio, there is no large enough stuffed animals in Flint.
Get the factories working on a giant.
Yeah, they could churn one out in like 20 minutes, right? Should be fine.
Probably, sure. Repurpose all the factories in 5 minutes and then 15 for the actual work.
Exactly.
So I've got the idea that you want to lure him through the city, and then Thuck be climbing up it as you do so. How are you going to do this?
I can probably get it started with make it so. I can I've got one action point left, which I can spend to direct it to make a move action. But I can't. It's literally a move action, so maybe if he like starts moving that direction, he'll just keep moving that direction, or
Does that make
follow
it
us.
So? I thought that's just.
Oh, sorry, Fiat, which is it's a one of the. It's not like an action; it's an ability thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I spend an action point and excuse me. Yeah, just it looks like there's no save. It just I force it to make an action. It can't directly cause the creature damage, but can put it in a dangerous situation. So I think yeah, I'll go in front of it. I'll force it to move and towards me, and then see what happens.
So, are you which primary direction are you from it?
I guess if we're gonna go directly to the sea, I'll be towards Bosun Strand of it.
So to the west.
Correct.
All right. Now, typically, I'd say it'd be difficult for him to hear you, but imbued by the magical power of your ability, the sound doth reach his ears. He was in the midst of poking a particularly large building to make it a particularly small building.
What was
And suddenly he stops, turns towards you to the west, cocks his head, and then takes a step. His foot swinging right past you, Dimitri, and smashing down on a building just to your side. His other foot picking up and doing it again. It begins to move to the west. He's slow and lumbering and destroying everything in his path. Ryla, you begin to climb him. Is that correct?
Can I use my endurance to sprint ahead to see if there's any people, try to get them clear out the way of the path that it's going to be going down?
You're not going to need to roll. There are thousands of people in the way. You can certainly try to run ahead. Endurance isn't something you need to roll particularly. You're just running through a city. It's more a speed
fine, use my
thing.
good
He
stat.
is extremely fast, and you're only just able to stay ahead of his lumbering gait. He is lumbering for him, but each step is almost 100 meters as he swings it forwards, crushing all of the buildings as if it were just merely blades of grass that his foot pushes through, and then stomping down. You run ahead and you're screaming at the top of your lungs and waving people to get out of the way. Most people already see the giant lumbering colossus coming towards them and figure the best course of action is to leave. But you find the occasional one who's merely frozen in fear and shove them out of the way of this behemoth.
Oh,
as it
perfect shoving,
stomps through
just
the
what I
city.
like to do.
It continues along the canal. As you watch it go, Ryla is climbing up the back of his legs at this point, getting just to probably the crest of his thigh, right near the butt cheek. When he farts and Thok dies and poo. Ha ha ha, welcome to my piss forest. He gets up the back. Now, Ryla, I believe, is AFK because he hasn't spoken in a bit. Now he's gone.
Oh, can you hear me?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
All right, yeah, I had to switch to my phone for a few minutes, so.
Okay, all good. So you are just at the top of his thigh, the edge of his butt cheek. He doesn't appear to have noticed you. He's more distracted by the buildings that he's crushing and the mysterious compulsion to move to the west. There's probably 15 minutes before he stomps his way to the western point of Bosun Strand if he continues on this path. And you can actually see from here, Ryla, you've got a bit of a vantage point halfway up his leg. You can see a number of ships in the harbour steaming and moving into position on the western side. You see the coal tongue. You see a number of the Flint Navy craft all around the coal tongue. And you see one of the Denoran ships, the ship that the Denoran consulate arrived on, the Frey Rouge, or Frey Rouge. I don't know how to words. The ship
Moulin Rouge boys.
that you met the captain of at the party, one Captain Lady Rosalind Taylor, which you didn't
Lady rolls off the tongue better.
Captain
Lady.
Yeah, Captain Rosalind Taylor of the Frey Rouge is there accompanying the RHC and the RNS ships. You also see the familiar sleek hull of the RNS Impossible, which you know is most likely still being captained by Rutger Smith.
I really feel like maybe someone should contact them and tell them not to engage.
What's the worst that could happen?
A rampaging giant robot that has the mind of an infant?
Well, if it does rampage, though, it's probably going to want to rampage towards the ships that are hurting it, right? Which means away from the
clever.
Well, yeah, but alright.
I don't know. Do we still want to talk to the king? It seems like we've got a wee bit of time, maybe, but maybe give them like orders, I guess, to hold fire unless it starts turning towards the city, and then hope it doesn't try and run away from the ouchy things.
But yes, I'm just gonna keep climbing until I'm about 5 squares away from, like, I guess the neck area, and then I'll teleport if there's a shadow.
Alright, you climb up. It gets probably to about here if you go a few minutes of climbing, and you manage to teleport up into the shade of his ear, pressed against his head, grabbing onto metal rivets. There is no hair on this Colossus. There's no strands for which to hold on, but there is plates of an unusual steel that you know to be stronger than any steel made by you or your people. You are now up on his head. As he looks out, you've got an even better view as you look to the west, and you can see the RNS Coltung, the refurbished, repaired craft, the jewel of the RNS Navy, preparing
get
to
wrecked
bring
again.
his... Hey! Fucking kids playing Jenga. Stop cheating!
Wait, how do you cheat at Jenga?
I don't know. Touching it with two hands? Who knows? Who fucking cares?
Wait, you're
Holding
not
it while you pull
supposed
it
to
out?
with two hands?
I don't know. Yeah, you're actually supposed to do one-handed. That's the game. That's in the rule. There's 3 rules in that game. That's one of them. Anyway, you see the RNS Coltung begin to maneuver back behind the other crafts, and you see a sparkle of energy passing through its capacitor on the main deck.
I'm gonna climb into his ear.
Alright, you climb into his ear, and you're in his ear.
Alright, I guess I'll try and speak loudly? Or not too loudly. Shit. I don't know how... Does he have eardrums? How does this... I'll just say, Born, listen to me. And see if he responds. Like, as in, like... Or...
See if it causes a reaction.
any sign of acknowledgement. Yeah, there we go.
You get the sensation of centripetal force as its head rotates and whips around. Everyone sees him turn as if there was something over his shoulder, but there is nothing there.
Born, listen, I understand. You don't know what to do with these feelings. You're feeling sad. Your mother's not here. Your father,
Mother!
you believe, is dead. Yes, I understand. I understand. But listen, we can bring your father back, but you need...
Father!
Yes, father. We can bring your father back. But...
Father!
Oh, God. Fucking spite. But listen, I need you to be good and to just stay still and not step on any of these very, I'm sure, squishy buildings for you.
Squishy!
He does not seem to stop his path as he moves forwards. He does, however, continue to shout out just the 2 words, mother and father, as he stomps, now stomping faster as he moves. He begins to angle, because you're on... Which side of his head are you on, the left or the right?
Probably the right.
So, he begins to move more to the right as he stomps through the city. He leaps over the canal. Well, not even leaps. He just sort of steps over the canal with one stride and begins to move as if trying to chase the source of the sound that uttered 2 words it recognized. Mother and father.
Quick, teleport to his left ear.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna try and move to his left ear.
You can move around. You can't teleport because you don't have line of sight. You can't go through his brain.
I don't need line of sight.
What do you need to teleport?
Oh wait, no, never mind. You're right. I do need.
Yeah.
As long as it's in my sight. Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
So you can climb
Yeah,
around to the back and then
Come
sort
on,
of,
Bob.
maneuver around and teleport where you can to get to the left
Yeah.
side. And you're now on the left ear. He's still moving to the north. The ships that were in the harbour directly to the west, you see them hurriedly trying to maneuver around to come back around to the sort of the inlet where he now seems to be heading towards.
Born father, stop.
Father! And he turns a little bit left. He's now heading west again.
Okay. I don't think this is gonna work, guys.
This is now his primary direction.
Well, I guess I figured out how we can angle him at least.
Got more control than the Obscurati did.
Not a big feat.
You do note, however, as you are saying mother and father into his ears, it seems to hurry him, almost exciting him, perhaps upsetting him, as now when there are large buildings, instead of just stepping mostly around them and on the smaller buildings, his hands come sweeping down. He stoops and just smashes out these large industrial buildings, throwing debris in all directions. Everywhere his hand hits, unlike where his feet are falling, great swathes of witch oil are left. Those of you who are following nearby, which includes Captain Dale, see a group of witch oil monstrosities begin to form in these piles of witch oil his hand strikes leave behind. He continues stomping through the bosom strand. Captain Dale shouts out, "We have to deal with these. We have to deal with these. Whatever they are."
Send in the B. Oh wait.
Send in the C team.
Also, yes, that's Stewie Blix, but it's a great witch oil monstrosity look, so fuck you.
Yeah, I don't think this worked. I think it had the opposite intent or fucking words that I can't make. Yeah, effect. There we go. Yes, the opposite effect of what we want.
As he gets up to about here, there is a sudden emission of green energy that comes out from the coal tongue. It is not the weapon, thankfully, because that might hurt you. Ryler on his fucking head.
Yeah.
It is not the weapon, and let me get you to roll an Arcana check. DC 13.
Can you roll that for me?
Oh, you're not. Yeah. I'll do that.
Yeah, I'm not on my computer. Sorry.
You rolled a 21. So you recognize that this is... Well, you figure that this energy coming from the ship is some sort of ritualistic energy magnified from the RNS's capacitor rather than a blast from his weapon. You've seen its weapon fire out when it showed it off in the... showed it off, used it, had it to not blow up the ship. The coal tongue lets out this energy, and you can see now from here, standing on the prow. Is that the front? I think that's the front.
Yeah.
You see King Aoden, his arms outstretched like Leo on Titanic. And
Fun.
he is just releasing some of this energy. It seems to spark up from him into the capacitor and then towards Bourne. You're not sure what it is that he's doing, but Bourne does not react well. You figure now why the coal tongue is behind the other ships as Bourne begins to stomp towards the water to the source of this energy, letting out a roar of frustration, and as he does stomp forwards, all of the craft along the front begin to open fire with their traditional weapons. Cannon fire rings out, explosions ring out. It is like the 4th of Fantasy July, of July I'll call it, as fireworks light up Flint Harbour and the area of Bosom Strand. You duck behind his ear, which shields you from most of the blasts which are smashing into his torso as he begins to furiously now run towards the water. Those of you who are on the ground, is anyone doing anything particular right now other than Ryla, who's on the Colossus?
I guess
Suppose
fighting
we
these
should-
fucking witch oil stuff.
Sorry, say that again. What was up?
Fighting the witch oil stuff.
Okay, so
Defending the
you're
people.
in the industry fighting the witch oil stuff? Alright.
Yep.
I'm not going to break down into a bunch of combats of you guys fighting witch oils. You fought them before and you've been able to kill them, no worries. So we'll consider that you are reducing the casualties of the witch oil that's being left on the ground here. Zambro,
Sounds
Dimitri,
perfect.
you guys doing anything different? Or
I
are you going to fight
I think
the witch
I'm
oils as well?
gonna be doing the same. It looks like
Yeah.
kind of the king's got. The king's kind of handling the Colossus now. So
Ryla made it more difficult. Ryla can solve it.
yeah, Ryler. Gosh.
You know what? Fuck off.
We are. That's what we're doing.
I didn't see you guys come up with any other plans.
So as he stomps and he continues smashing buildings out of the way, it leaves a long streak of these witch oil things there. Over the next 5 minutes, he makes his way to the edge of the water where he steps in, and immediately the water is up to his knees. It's about the level he's fighting. As he takes further steps out, it gets about waist height before he's within reach of one of the warships. Most of the smaller ones are able to maneuver out of the way quick enough, but the larger, more cumbersome ones are unable to get out of his path as he reaches forwards and grabs one of the Raizuri warships. Ryla, are you still on his head?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't really have anywhere else to go at the moment.
You don't want to, like, rappel off and get off this fucking thing getting shot up? All right.
Nah, that's fine. I'll be all right.
Morbid curiosity and front row seats leave you there on the air of Bourne as he reaches out to this Raizuri warship. You recognize it as the Avalanche. You've been on the ship before. It's a solid ship with a great crew. He wraps one hand almost fully around the middle of the hull of the ship, and it seems with a simple curiosity, he lifts it, this 100-foot ship, about halfway out of the water, when suddenly the weight of it all around his hand snaps it into two halves. A stunning display of tossed bodies, exploding ammunition stores, and splintered wood as his hand comes up with just a grasp of its metal hull, and he just sort of turns it over and opens it, dropping the metal down into the water below, crushing a number of the crew who did survive, who are trying to swim away from their destroyed vessel. You hear a shout from the king. It's amplified by the ritual he's casting, and with the shout you start to hear the repetition of his ritualistic voice coming through the air as the energy continues to smash into Bourne. He looks angrily at the source of the shout, and you can see the coal tongue there with a number of small ships in front of it, and you hear a sudden whirling of energy from Bourne. You're right up by his ear, so you're near his eyes, and with a ear-splitting crack, which I'm going to get you to roll an endurance, please.
Can you roll that for me, please?
Oh, yep. You are able to withstand it, getting your hands up to your ears just in time, as with a crack, his eyes release a burst of energy to one of the smaller crafts in front of the coal tongue, and you see a number of witch oil creatures sort of explode onto the deck there, and where the light from his eyes lands, wood spontaneously bursts into flame, metal begins to broil and burn, and anyone caught in its glare is immediately turned to ash. It's a horrible, horrible thing to see. Those of you on... Oh, go ahead.
Would it be possible to get, like, how is the inside of his... Is it solid metal inside his head? Is there a way I could get to his eyes from inside of his head? You know what I mean?
You were in his ears. Now, his ears did sort of go into a very small, maybe foot-wide hole that went further in. You probably couldn't crawl through it. But if you were able to get around to the front of him, you could get to his eyes, or perhaps up through his nose, you could get into his eyes.
I'll try that, because I do not want to get in front of his eye. That is not something I want to do. But before I do that, I'll shout as loud as I can, Father, into his...
Alright, you swing around to the front, careful to avoid the eyes as he's angrily looking around, unleashing lashes of these witch oil rays from his eyes, and you get around to his nose, and just hanging off the lip of his nose, you can look up where a biological human would have a sinus. He merely has a tunnel that seems to go straight upwards.
I'll try and climb up this tunnel.
Alright, you climb up it, and you find yourself in an area almost like a sinus, but a little bit further up and a little less deep. In it is a broiling, swirling mess of witch oil.
Oh boy.
Do it.
Now, we're going to cut from you back to Bosun Strand. As the three of you are fighting off the witch oil monstrosities, he's made his way out a little way into the harbour as he continues to push against the water now the main thing slowing him down. You deal with the last of the huge witch oil monstrosities and spirits he left behind, and continue to help directing Captain Dale and his surviving men to evacuate the survivors and the wounded from Bourne's trample through the Strand. You're able to get to the edge of the sort of the bay, what do you call it, the waterfront, and you look out and you can see Bourne now waist deep, moving towards the Coltung. You see the Frey Rouge coming around his northeastern side, almost as if to come between you and him. As you get close, you see Captain Rosalind Taylor on the ship looking out towards you, and you see her waving her arm. She seems to be angling the Frey Rouge to be coming alongside the waterfront at what you would consider a suicidally close run to a solid object in a boat. But
I mean, a tempting jumping distance.
yeah, pretty much. Do you want to
I'm
jump
tempted.
onto the Frey Rouge?
Yep.
Yeah, why
Sounds
not?
like a good idea.
Okay, so the three of you start running along to sort of match the pace as much as you can as she comes in. The boat starts to lean. It's only maybe a foot up and 5 foot across. I'll get 3 athletics checks from the three of you.
Just 3 each?
No,
Or
no,
you want
sorry,
just...
1 each. Yeah, bad English. No, that's fine. It's DC 10. Don't worry, Dave. The three of you managed to leap on. Dimitri, your short, stubby legs just managed to get you over the lip, and you sort of land on with your chest, oof, and then drag yourself onto the boat before she veers it away, and then it sorts of rights itself as it's coming now the south side of Bourne. Captain Rosalind Taylor says, "I recognized you from the party. Well, not you," and points at Zambro, "but I figured you can't do much good standing there on the dock. Did you want to come and help?"
Hey. Is there much we can do?
Well, the king is attempting a ritual to banish him from this plane. It is up to us to lay down our life, limb, and vessels to keep its attention off the Coltung. And as she says that, there's another volley of the cannons from her ship that boom, light up the back of Bourne, and explosions all up there. He barely even seems to notice it, but he does sort of shrug it off. Nothing seems to be piercing his armor, but it does seem to be an annoyance at least. That's the plan that you gather from Rosalind Taylor.
I mean, as far as plans go, it's not the worst I've heard of.
Is there any wounded on the ship or anything? Dimitri's going to be probably pretty useless for this next bit, so...
Currently, there are no wounded, but as she swings around more to the southwest and unleashes another volley of cannon fire, Bourne turns his head, and Ryla, you get a brief look down the nose, and you can see the Frey Rouge, and you can see your friends on the hull of the Frey Rouge, and then the vision is lost as Bourne angles his eyes down, and the witch oil that you're standing next to, Ryla, begins to churn and spin and gets sucked upwards through the top of this little chamber you're in, presumably to the eyes, and you recognize the same whirring sound as 2 bolts of witch oil are shot at the Frey Rouge. Onto the deck, we'll find ourselves there now. There is a small fight breaking out as a couple of witch oil monstrosities standing in the place where some crew members, now ash, once were. The ground beneath them warped and blistering with the heat of the witch oil.
Poor dudes. Time to get into
Did
action.
we have a time for a short rest at any point?
Yes, before now you would have had Captain Dale was treating your guys' wounds, giving you the effect of an extended rest.
Real quick, Did all of the witch oil disappear?
No, it sort of all whirled up, and then like a shot of it went up the nose and exploded out of his
Okay.
eyes.
Alright, I have an idea, but I'll wait.
Okay. Well, no, go ahead and let's say your idea while I'm setting up the map here.
Alright, so this technically isn't rules as written, but I figured it's kind of ridiculous that I wouldn't be able to do this, considering I turned my gun into a Futuro blaster thing. Could I rig it to explode?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to rig it to explode, toss it in the witch oil, and then try and get away as fast as I can.
Oh no.
Channeling your Trabro. I like it.
It worked out so well for Trabro.
Trabro blew himself up without any witch oil around. There's a bit of a difference. Just a slight difference. Plus, I mean, it could, at the very least, cause a chain reaction to blow up the witch oil in his body, which would be, even if it doesn't hurt him, maybe he can't shoot anymore. Can't shoot anymore. Would be good.
True.
Blow up a sinus, give him a real bad sinus infection.
I'll say Uranus will be here with you as well, but he won't act in combat because he's not here. But he's on the boat with you for all intents and purposes.
Busy filling out all the forms.
Yeah. Oh, this is not a Rosary ship. We need to be filling in the requisite insurance forms and indemnities to... Yeah, etc, etc. Alright, give me a sec. So there's 6 of the mucks and 1 of the Dewey Black... 6 of the horrors and 1 of the monstrosities on the deck. Is that all around? Oh, they're not visible to you. Womp womp. You guys don't need to see them, do you?
No, we just randomly swing our swords. That's all good.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that's the wrong token. Captain Rosalind Taylor is standing up there on the deck, controlling the ship, as you guys roll initiative. Ryla, as you chuck your gun in there, roll me an acrobatics check to get the fuck out of his nostril.
Can you roll that for me, please? Sorry.
Alright, so you chuck in your gun, its bleeping begins to intensify. You hear the whirring build of the witch oil again. It starts to spin around, but you quickly leap out of the nose just as the beeping from your gun intensifies from beep, 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 just a solid beep. And then there is a boom, an explosion from the ground, from the ship below. You guys turn your attention briefly from the monstrosities as you hear an explosion, and all you see is what can only be described as a witch oil sneeze. 2 green shoots of fire come blasting out of Bourne's nose, and his head whips backwards, and you just hear, thankfully, Ryla, you're able to get out of the nasal passages in time. It doesn't appear to have damaged him, but you start to hear the whirring build again as his eyes try to find witch oil with which to blast the ship again, and there is a gurgling sound, and then the whirring abates. Whatever witch oil was in his nasal cavity is no longer available to use.
All right.
He angrily turns to one of the other nearby boats, the Frey Rouge moving away to deal with the witch oil before returning to strike again and perhaps draw his ire. There is a crunch of metal and steel once more as he picks up a nearby craft and smashes it into another one. the witch oil fight now up here. Riley, he's beginning to stumble away from the Frey Rouge. This will be your opportunity to jump off near enough to a ship to help, or to swim to it before it moves away. Otherwise, you will stay on Bourne's head.
I don't really think there's much else I can do up here. Yeah, I'll come down to help.
Alright, so you leap off, landing in the water just by the Frey Rouge over here. I can see you. Next turn, on your turn of movement, Ryla, the boat will move forwards, and that'll bring you down here. But for this turn, you're up here. So go ahead and roll initiative, Ryla. You'll join the rest. Also, you're not.
I'm sorry, I'm still not on my computer yet.
God damn it. Useless. You're near the boat. The boat's there. And you're up first, Ryla. So as you're in the water, the boat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, comes down close enough for you to grab. Do you want to spend your movement climbing up onto it? It has ropes hanging down, like all good battlefield ships.
Yeah.
Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. Can you see the map? Do you have access to it on anything? Or do you want me to put it on Discord so you can see the map?
Yeah, could you put that on Discord, please?
There you go. The arrow is pointing at your position. The monstrosities are off to the left.
Alright, I'll fire at one of the monstrosities from where just a quick shot.
Alrighty.
And if I hit, I'll use attack finesse.
Righto. So quick shot. At the monstrosity or one of the horrors? The horrors are the little ones.
One of the little ones.
Alright, that's a hit. And you want to use attack finesse. And it is dead. There's an explosion of witch oil which begins to fizzle and fester and dissipate as it dies. Next up is Orzov.
Time to go balls deep.
Yeah.
I'll use that. And I'll use the Wrath of Nature to mark them. Get some leaves annoying them so they pay attention to me.
Righto.
And I'll drag my sheet instead of dragging the combat thing. Yep, so that guy takes 2 damage. That'll be my turn.
Alrighty, the horrors. That one I did. Oh, I should have left their non-ID'd names on. There we go. Goopy goops.
Goop, goop, goop.
The creature's body, now you're up close, Orzov, you can see it's speckled with white dots. And you know this from your experience with witch oil to be souls trapped in the oil. Its mere presence seems to be strapping the strength of anyone nearby. It's going to attempt to melee 3, 1, 2, that one's in range, that one's in, yep, they're all in range. They're going to all whip out tendrils towards you, Orzov.
Sweet. Oh, sweet.
So you take 5 necrotic damage from each, and you are dragged here, and you take 2 instances of damage ongoing. 5.
On the bright side, I can save from one of them at the start of my turn.
Yeah. The monstrosity, however, isn't quite so forgiving. He attempts to engulf you. As the others pull you close, this one will attempt to absorb you completely.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, so miss is just half damage for him. Okay, let me just half that. Half your half. But you are not engulfed. Alrighty, next up is Dimitri.
Okay, so think I'll do the old inevitable doom on the big guy. Can't remember, is that range? No, melee one. And untarget.
Watch out, Dimitri. He likes souls. He tried to eat me.
So the next attack will do extra 2d8 on a hit or a miss. That's my standard. Don't really. Let's have a wee look. I guess I'll do a favor of Ishkatal on Orzov. Essentially, let you, if you miss with an attack, you can re-roll it.
Sweet.
I don't have an effect thingy for that, so you'll just have to
Yeah.
remember.
You shouldn't be prone, Zamro.
I was about to say I stand up. I do things. I'll charge. It's fine.
Of course. What your character is made for, do it.
Zambra is in the front seat, eh?
There's combat. Zambria's taking the back seat. Rip.
I think you should have let Zambra take the front seat.
Do you want to hero point?
Oh yeah, that's the thing we can do. Yeah, I'll hero point that.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Right, so a saving throw. Nice typing there.
Just freezing throughs.
Yeah, you gain a
throughs
free
and
AP
plugging.
because that's not applicable there. Wet oil.
Cool. So damage. I get a free attack because I crit. Free melee basic attack, and I can use a different attack as it stands in for it.
Oh right, I think yeah, you'll get the 2d8 as well on it.
Okay, so that 2d8 will be enough to finish it. There you go.
But I had like 9 more things to happen.
Sorry, Jeff. I'll double their HP next time.
That's okay. I guess I got a free action point, right?
I'm back on my computer now. Sorry.
I'll charge again.
Just keep barreling through the area.
Go, go, go.
That's okay.
All right. So I am going to kind of dash across the deck here. I'm sorry, I can't see these squares real well. 1, 2, 3, 6. This quick shot. Kind of, I'll just raise my gun up and take a quick shot off at this here goop and miss. Cool. That's my turn.
Okay, well, I guess I'll get an opportunity attack doing this because I'm gonna move up here and then down into here.
For some reason, only one of those damage ongoings happened. Did you want to save for the other one before I give you the extra damage?
Yeah.
Just save. See if you get rid of it.
Easy.
Kill. Alright, I won't give you the other one. So you've got one left. Ah, got rid of it. Fuck it. I don't even care. You got rid of them both.
Well, let's put it this way. I'll get rid of it in my turn.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, nature's wrath. Oh. Make sure I have a move here that will be handy. Nope, that's the wrong one. Is it that one? Yes. Ah, fuck it, nah, fuck it. Just do this. Good, I missed. That's perfect. That solves that issue.
Proud of you, buddy. Proud of you.
Hey. Oh wait, no, I get to reroll on a miss. Thanks, Dave. I got worse. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. No worries. I tried.
I had my hopes up there for a second before I came crashing down. I'll be right back.
Alrighty. These goops, they're going to try and eat Zambro, and two of them are going to try and eat Orzov. Hey! So Zambro, you're it.
Oh no.
You are grabbed. And while you're grabbed, you have... It's supposed to be 15 ongoing, so let me just fix it up. There you go. Those are the 3 Gooby Goops. Mitri, you're up.
Go do. I'll target one of the ones that's grabbing. Which one's grabbing him? Or both?
The 3 is grabbing Zambro.
Okay, so target that and do. What is it? Death Shadow. Means I gotta beat melee. Okay, it's deaded.
You did it. Proud of you, buddy.
How far do I need to move to charge?
At least 2 squares in a straight line towards them.
And I can move and then charge?
Yes, but you will provoke 2 opportunity attack. Or an opportunity.
1.
Attack. No, 2 because they're merely 3 range for their basic attack.
Are they? Oh, god damn it. In that case, I'll do pass forward to move without provoking an opportunity.
Damn.
Because what's their rank? Within their and ends in a square adjacent to that enemy. So not within the melee range. I'm no longer grabbed.
Alright. You weren't actually grabbed anymore because Dave killed the one that was fighting it, and I've put your hit points back as well. You
and
the ongoing.
Yeah, and I'll charge the one up there now.
Alright, so this will provoke an up attack from...
I don't suffer opportunity attacks when charging.
God damn. Alright.
What a fucking beast!
Helps if I actually put the effects on for my charging. I'm gonna spend a fucking healing.
Do it.
And another one.
And another. How many is that? Four surges now?
4 so far.
5? Hey!
Fuck it out.
Wow!
Actually, that I really like that you've now spent 5 healing surges to get that. Giving it your all, making it more reliable, and ultimately hurting you. I think it's working well.
Those are some... Those odds, though, holy shit. That's intense.
What move do I use? Dan, there's no damage thing on my attack. Huh.
It's because you're using bull rush attack instead of just your charge.
You set me up a charge?
Well, your charge just uses a melee basic attack at the end of it, and you put on your modifiers for charge. There we go. 30 damage though.
Good lord.
And for a minor, I'll gain some temp HP.
Yeah. I remember you could use like Wicked Strike instead of that as well, which I think is better than your melee basic attack.
Ah, yeah, that's what I used.
Yeah, it gives you strength plus con. And a tag that is an MBA, so you know that you can use it in place of it.
Thank you.
Alright. Leaving just one goop. Ryla, how do you deal with it?
I'm just gonna take aim with my gun and put a bullet right between its goopy brain. Yeah. We're not level 21 yet. Pow, pow, pow.
So with the last witch oil defeated off the Frey Rouge, the cannons can continue to fire as your attention now returns to Bourne, who's stomped his way towards the coal tongue, thankfully slowed down by the ships maneuvering around. His attention is drawn to them, and the bay is now littered with the sinking or sunken hulls and debris from a number of the RNS ships around. Shit's fucked. Dark clouds begin to form over the entire bay as a storm begins to set in, rain begins to drop. But the king continues whatever ritual it is that he is doing. Then another setback reveals itself.
Oh, good.
Oh no.
Veto.
I'd like to spend an action point and not have that happen. Alright, so within the same... Hang on, alright, just gotta read a quick thing. Make sure how this works. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm trying to avoid using the naval rules of this campaign.
What?
I'm sorry, guys. It's just narrating and having stuff for you to do.
How dare you?
It's the West.
How do you correctly assume that we don't really want to do naval fighting? How dare you?
Yeah, right. So during the minute spent desperately maneuvering to avoid the Colossus' wrath, with the rain overhead intensifying into a thunderstorm, King Aoden's ritual reaches its crescendo. A green light swirls around the Colossus like vines wrapping around an abandoned vehicle. The Colossus surges towards the king on the coal tongue, raises his fists, but then the light flashes and the Colossus is simply gone. The void in the water that he left behind is suddenly filled with a giant splash, almost like an explosion. The sea heaves and the storm abates. The air is filled with the fresh scent of spring.
Oh boy. Oh no.
What?
Isn't this the Fey lady? The
No.
one. Oh god.
No.
Okay.
But I didn't want you to think that.
You're a monster. A monster.
The threat now momentarily dealt with. The city will be rebuilt, the dead mourned, but first the boats regroup, and it is soon known that the king seeks your counsel. As the damaged fleet returns to harbour, the king finds himself on land again, and when you approach him, he is sagging onto a seat, and he looks up as you approach, and he tells you that the Colossus has been banished. It's now in the dreaming, where he hopes it's beyond the reach of the obscurati. As he looks at your faces, worn from the battle, he says, I intend to send messages to the unseen court to ask for their aid in keeping the machine from falling into the hands of the obscurati. Though I worry the Fae might view the sudden arrival of the Colossus as somewhat of an act of war.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't the dreaming where the unseen court is? I don't
Yes.
think they're gonna be happy about this at all.
I appreciate that, but it's an easier mission to convince the unseen court that it is not an act of war than the mission I have for you.
Maybe we can call in a favor from
Azubay?
Azerbay, yeah.
He nods. I will certainly be calling in all the cards we have for allowing him travel through our city. Perhaps we have some favors to call on.
Okay.
Now look, take time to heal, recover, and prepare. But once our agents find a lead, you will be ready, or you need to be ready to go anywhere at a moment's notice. Today, we should remain content just to have driven this Colossus away that threatened to destroy much more than what it did. But when we cross paths with it again, we must have this weapon for Ryza. I want to know why the Obscurati were building it, and I want to know how they intended to control it, or failing that, how to destroy it.
Well, I guess we can fill him in a little bit on what we know, like that we faced off against Magneto there, and he seemed to have powers over metal, which I don't know if there was more to it, but he seemed to be trying to control.
As he's telling you this, I'm afraid I appreciate what you're saying, and he calls out, Jeff! Jeff, over here, and you see the inventor Jeff Massad.
Hello, yes.
Jeff Massad, the guy who built the coal tongue for Riser, the engineer hero, brought over, and he says, Jeff, they have some information on how this was built, perhaps how the Obscurati intended to control it. I suggest you and them discuss it at a point other than today. Today is about recovery and mourning. He looks at you, and Jeff nods and says, of course. And he turns to you all, I'll be in contact. And as Jeff moves away, the king says, now, I seek your counsel. Harkover is back at the hotel, keeping things safe there, and, well, I guess I seek your guidance. What do we do now between Riser and Daenor? If I tell the people that this was an attack by Daenor, well, it'll help with our people's rebuilding and might be best for the security of the nation. But you know as well as I do, it's not quite true. Daenor aren't fully the backers of the Obscurati. We know they have ties, at least in some members of them, but I'm not sure if breaking down the peace we've tried to build is the right choice. I'm not sure people appreciate the nuance of a multinational conspiracy said to be headed by the sovereign of Daenor, even if not all of Daenor is part of it. He gestures to the Frey Rouge. Captain Rosalind Taylor there proves that not all of Daenor is beyond helping us. It is by this decision, the crew of that ship will either be heroes hailed to help Riser defend against a mysterious new foe, or they'll be enemies, doomed for prison and probably execution. He groans. You see his age suddenly worn on his face, and he says, probably wouldn't have agreed to be king if I had known I'd have to make decisions like this. And he looks to you all for suggestions.
I don't want those ship people to die.
Making hard decisions is what being a king is.
I'll say.
Go ahead,
I'll
buddy.
say. Oh, Corey, can I? Oh, am I? I think there's a bit
Go
of
ahead.
lag.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'll say, well, people, they're already were able to appreciate the fact that your sister's rebellion didn't mean that, your own leadership wasn't suspect. Maybe again make the proclamation specifically targeted at the people responsible and don't extend it towards Daenor as a whole.
The only problem is I'm intended to be wed with Liagier, yes? If
Yes.
we proclaim that her and her father are behind the attack on Flint, that deal on which all of our peace relies is kaput.
And the piece is fragile already.
He nods. That is where the difficulty comes in.
I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to maintain peace when they're actively doing these things, though. But you don't have to be the one that declares war.
If it were just us, I mean, I know what I would do, but this is a
Speak
lot
freely,
more than
Ryder.
just us. I think you should go ahead with the wedding. We don't say that Daenor had any part in this. If there's one thing we can get out of this, is that we'd be able to keep, at least I believe, a closer eye on Gier as long as she's your wife. No good can come out of pointing any fingers right now. The already fragile peace would be destroyed.
Sorry, can I add something? Trying
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
remember quickly, where did we get the prophecy about the king being taken over or whatever? Does anyone else remember what I'm talking about?
Wasn't that just something the Ice Devil said? And Trabo agreed to
I'm
take
sure
over
there was a prophecy, something about the king being like possessed or taken over. And I think putting the pieces together, it sounds like there's a good chance that fucking Nicodemus may try and take over the king at some point. You know, if he's literally sleeping with somebody that's, you know, in deep with the obscurati, it does seem like he's, you know, introducing, you know, a pretty serious vulnerability to himself. But
I
I'm
mean-
trying to remember what because I'm sure there was something like that, but I'd have to, yeah, unless it's in our notes, I'm not sure if I've got the details.
The
I'm sure there was a
Nivard
prophecy of something.
visions. Do you want me to quickly reread that again? See if there's anything there for you.
Might be worth having a flick through. I'll see if there's anything in our note.
Okay. I saw a dark figure standing atop Cauldron Hill, towering over our city. The sun set and he cast a shadow across Parody Lake, stretching northwest into the sea, beyond the horizon. He is born in our city, but his ultimate goal is elsewhere. And also, things moved in his shadow. Indeed, his shadow moved before he did, for while he was mighty, he was controlled by others. I saw smoke hiding his face, for he was made mighty by industry. In my vision, a king chased him out to sea and defeated him by slicing him free from the shadow. But the cauldron was already shattered, and many thousands were drowned and devoured in its roil. I saw 3 birds alight on the peak, the first of black, the second of black steel, both weeping blood. But the third was made of stars, and it sang many songs. I tell you this, Cauldron Hill is not safe. Twice will danger arise, and twice we will be deceived into thinking it is safe to return. But we must avoid the place and avoid being tricked. I have arranged shelter in the Cloudwood, where people can be safe until the darkness passes. That's Nivard's vision. There was some other smaller visions which don't have any bearing on the current situation.
Yeah, I'm wondering, was it somewhere else? What about the demon lady? She had to share some prophecies.
The chained up one? I don't think so.
Shimishimtu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't really have any prophecies. She talked about how she got there.
It's weird. I'm sure I'm remembering something, but maybe not.
I remember, the Ice Devil saying he wanted to kill the king and make Trabro a king.
Yeah, that's...
I have another scooch back through, but it's not ringing any bells for me.
I may well have misremembered something, but I guess the point I'm, I guess Demetra still make though is that, this marriage did seem to be part of the Obscurati's plans. I mean, I don't think they originally expected us to find out as much as we did, so, I know there's, keeping your friends close and all that, but you're also kind of going along with whatever they were originally planning by going ahead with it.
I mean, but the problem is like, the fact that we know about it will change the outcome, like regardless. I mean, as long as I trust, Riser's security fairly well, at least around the king anyway. And we've already really messed up their plans as far as this Iron Giant goes. I think they'd be a little hesitant, maybe. We might have thrown a wrench in, and I do believe that this piece is, it is important.
I've just thought it might have been the guy that wanted to kill all the children. He said a bunch of shit, didn't he?
Oh, Ekosigan?
Yeah, Harold.
Let me have a quick look.
Sorry, I really...
No, it's
I
fine.
don't...
Fuck, where was he? 1 season slain, it was his. Do you know what's inside Cauldron Hill, little pup? Step with me into the gate. We'll weed this dark garden together. Azrabe, you know the gardener. Do you remember your dear wife, Kazfarina? I'm afraid she doesn't remember you. No, he doesn't prophesy anything. He just says that he's gonna go into the
Okay.
the place and kill everyone.
Right. Never mind. I must be making shit up. Well. Yeah.
So with
I guess,
seemingly
yeah,
the consensus. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dave.
So I guess Dimitri's kind of voting sort of against. I think everybody else is potentially voting for.
Mm.
I don't know about the rest of them. I mean, Ryler certainly will, but I will go with majority vote. So
I don't want to vilify the innocent Denorans for the sins of a few.
The king stands. He looks you all over. His eyes stop on Zambro.
Just don't
And you
cost
see a flicker of recognition, and he steps forwards, reaches out his hands towards you, Zambro. Says, Trabro. Is that you in there? Deep down?
He's deep down. He's having a rest currently.
He smiles. Look after him, Zambria. Look after him well.
How do you keep doing that?
He smiles. It wasn't always just a king. He looks around, and you see now people beginning to come to the shores as the battle is finished. People are curious as ever, and as the crew of all the boats are rescued, return to shore, or at least the survivors are, there is cheering and applauding for the heroes that drove away the monster that attacked the city. The king steps forwards to the captain of the Frey Rouge, Captain Rosalind Taylor, and you see a number of soldiers sort of coming to his left and his right. And he raises an arm and points at Rosalind Taylor and says, Captain, Flint owes you a great debt. And he steps forwards and kneels in front of Captain Rosalind Taylor and says, I bow for you. You have stepped forth and strengthened the bond between our two nations. And he stands, and then he turns to the five of you and he says, please, kneel.
I guess I kneel.
The
Yeah.
five of you kneel.
Alright.
As you're a bit confused, like, why is he making us kneel for Captain Rosalind Taylor? You hear the shing of a sword being pulled from a scabbard, and you raise your head and you can see the king has a sword in his hand, drawn from Captain Rosalind's side, and he touches the sword to your shoulders, and he says, Sir Ryler of the King's Guard. And he touches it to Orzov's shoulder. Sir Orzov of the King's Guard. Touches it to Dimitri. Sir Dimitri of the King's Guard. And touches it to Zambro. Sir Zambro. He knows your name, that's right. No, he says, Sir Zambria. And then touches your other shoulder. And Sir Trabro of the King's Guard. And he stands and he returns the sword to Captain Rosalind's scabbard and he says, you kneeled as heroes. Now you stand as knights and heroes of Flint. And the crowd grows quiet at the scene. And Airden tells you to stand. And the applause can be heard across the city. He also says something to Kevin, but, who cares?
Sir Paperwork.
Wow.
Sir Paperwork.
Sir Arenas, please, all of you, rise now. And as you do rise as Knights of Riser, that so ends
Get it?
Act 1. Yes, I get it. So ends Act 1 of Zeitgeist. You did it, you beat the game. Woo! Stop.
Yeah.